By the time the oceans died, nobody cried anymore. Grief requires hope, and hope had evaporated decades earlier, boiled away in the atmospheric collapse, poisoned by industrial war, and finally swallowed by the dust years. Earth had become a monument to thirst. Cities didn't fall in explosions. They dried. Governments didn't collapse in revolutions. They dissolved in dehydration. And water, real, clean, uncontaminated water, became more valuable than gold, more guarded than weapons, more sacred than faith. I was the last human who had it. Not recycled gray sludge. Not chemically stripped waste. Not algae-processed paste water. Pure water. H2O untouched by toxin or radiation. My name is Elias Vorn, and I sold it by the liter from a stall made of scrap titanium in what used to be Seattle. People lined up for hours under a sky the color of rust. They came wrapped in filter cloth and desperation. I never raised prices. I never diluted a drop. And I never explained where it came from. That mystery was the only thing that kept me alive. Rumors said I had an underground glacier. Others believed I'd found a forgotten government vault. A few whispered that I'd made a deal with something not from Earth. They were closer with the last one. The first time the alien ships appeared, most humans didn't even notice. Earth had nothing worth invading. We were a cautionary tale. But other species didn't come for conquest. They came for something rarer than minerals. They came for resilience. And apparently, they came for water. The two alien women arrived on the hottest day of the year. The crowd parted instinctively, not out of respect, but fear. They were tall, slender, their skin a faint opalescent blue that shimmered like oil on glass. Their eyes were large, silver-ringed, intelligent. Their movements were fluid and precise. They wore layered fabric that seemed woven from light itself. The insignia on their shoulders marked them as Verethi, a water-dependent civilization. Irony, I suppose. They approached my stall. One of them spoke first. "We are told," she said in perfect English, her voice harmonic and steady, "that you possess unprocessed hydric purity." "That's one way to say it," I replied. She studied me carefully. "You are the last human with such a resource." "That depends how much you're buying." The second alien stepped forward. Her gaze wasn't clinical like the first. It was searching, curious. "We will buy everything you have," she said. A ripple of panic moved through the line behind them. I shook my head. "No one buys everything." They exchanged a glance. Then the first one removed a small crystalline disc from her wrist. A holographic projection flared into existence. Star charts, mineral rights, trade access codes, technological patents. "We will sell everything we have." The crowd gasped. The Verethi were a high-tier civilization. Their biotech alone could terraform continents. "Why?" I asked quietly. The second alien answered, "Because our oceans are dying too." That's when everything changed. Middle. The secret beneath the dust. I didn't answer them immediately. Instead, I poured 2 glasses of water. Clear. Untouched. They stared at it like it was divine. When they drank, their expressions shifted, subtle, but unmistakable. Relief. Awe. Something close to reverence. The second alien closed her eyes. "This is alive." "Yes," I said. "It is." The first alien leaned forward. "How?" That was the question no one had ever dared to ask directly. I gestured for them to step inside the tent behind my stall. Inside was nothing special. Crates. Filters. Old Earth tech. But beneath it, that was different. I pressed my palm to the hidden panel under the floor. The sand shifted. A circular platform descended silently. The aliens followed without hesitation. 200 feet below the ruined city, there was a chamber unlike anything left on Earth.
Green. Alive.
A subterranean biome illuminated by bioluminescent algae lining the walls. At its center was a lake.
Clear. Still.
Impossible. The Verethi women stopped in silence. This cannot be natural, the first one whispered.
It isn't, I said.
30 years ago, during the final climate escalations, Earth initiated Project Deepwell, a desperate attempt to seed autonomous bioreactive ecosystems below the planet's crust. Self-sustaining water purification systems powered by geothermal vents and adaptive microbial engineering. The program was abandoned. Funding collapsed. Governments failed. But one scientist didn't give up. My mother. She stayed behind when others fled to orbital colonies. She perfected the bioreactor system.
She taught it to adapt, to clean,
to replicate. When she died, she left it to me, and I guarded it. Not because I wanted power, but because humanity had lost the right to abundance. The Verethi circled the lake slowly. You could replicate this, the second alien said softly. Yes. Why haven't you? I met her eyes. Because when humans have plenty, we forget to value it. The first alien turned sharply. Our species will die within 2 of your decades. Humans nearly did, I replied. And yet you survived. I almost laughed. Survival isn't the same as salvation. They stood together, whispering in their harmonic language. Then the second alien approached me. I am Lyri. The first followed. And I am Sereth. Lyri's gaze was steady. We did not come only for water. I waited. She continued. We came because our scientists detected the signature of adaptive hydric regeneration. My stomach tightened. You traced the reactor. Yes. Sereth stepped closer. Our oceans are collapsing due to biochemical destabilization. We cannot correct the chain reaction. And you think this can? I asked. Lyri nodded. Not alone, but with your guidance. There it was. Not a purchase. A partnership. I looked at the lake. At my mother's life's work. At humanity's final miracle. You're asking me to leave Earth. Yes. To save your world. Yes. And what do humans get? Lyri's expression didn't change. Access to our terraforming arrays. Atmospheric repair technology. Planetary stabilization systems. Sereth added quietly. And the chance to prove your species can restore rather than destroy. That hit harder than any negotiation tactic. I had spent years selling water to desperate survivors. But this was something larger. If the Deepwell system could stabilize an alien ocean, then scaled properly, it could revive Earth. But there was risk. Transporting the core reactor would expose it. If other factions learned of it, Earth's last clean water source would become a battlefield. I turned to them. If we do this, we do it my way. Lyri tilted her head. Explain. We replicate the reactor here first. We build a transportable seed core. I go with you to install it. And in exchange, your terraforming fleet begins Earth restoration immediately. Sereth considered. Agreed. Lyri nodded slowly. Agreed. I exhaled. The fate of 2 worlds now rested on a lake beneath dead Seattle. Escalation. The war for water. We didn't get the chance to leave quietly. Word spreads faster than drought. Within weeks, human factions learned the Verethi were stationed near my territory. Raiders came first. Then corporate remnants. Then orbital militias. Water had always meant power. But now it meant interstellar leverage. The first attack came at night. Armed drones descended on my stall. Lyra reacted before I could blink. Her wrist disc unfolded into a plasma lattice shield. Sereth moved like liquid lightning, disabling drones midair with precision energy pulses. I grabbed an old kinetic rifle and covered the perimeter. Explosions shook the sand. "They will not stop," Lyra said calmly. "I know," I replied. "They will kill you for this. They've tried before. But this was different. This time, humanity wasn't fighting over scraps. They were fighting over redemption. When the orbital militia cruiser entered atmosphere, I knew we had hours at most. I looked at Lyra. "Can your ship lift the seed core now?" Sereth answered. "It is incomplete. Doesn't matter." We descended to the lake. I activated the replication sequence early. The water glowed brighter, bioluminescent veins racing through the chamber walls. The reactor pulsed like a heartbeat. Above us, the ground trembled. Lyra stepped beside me. "You risk your species' last sanctuary." I didn't look at her. "I'm risking it so we don't need sanctuaries anymore." The militia breached the surface compound just as the Verethi transport vessel decloaked overhead. A beam of violet light pierced the ground. The seed core rose within it. Raiders fired blindly. Militia cannons roared. Sereth projected a wide-field distortion shield, deflecting debris. Lyra gripped my arm. "Elias."
Now.
We stepped into the beam. The last thing I saw was the Deepwell Lake, still intact, still alive. Then Earth vanished beneath us. Ending. Oceans reborn. The Verethi homeworld was beautiful. Too beautiful for a dying place. Vast silver oceans stretched beneath a pale star. But as we descended closer, I saw the truth. The water shimmered wrong. Surface tension anomalies. Biochemical breakdown patterns. The seas were unraveling. We installed the seed core in their primary oceanic vent. Their scientists surrounded us, skeptical but silent. When the reactor activated, the water changed color. Not dramatically,
but subtly.
The destabilization halted, then reversed. The ocean breathed. Lyra watched the data stream with widening eyes.
"It is stabilizing."
Seretha's voice trembled faintly. "We are recovering." Within days, oceanic toxicity levels dropped by measurable margins. Within weeks, marine ecosystems began regenerating. The Verethi celebrated not with noise, but with stillness. They gathered by the shore in silent gratitude. Lyra stood beside me. "You have done what no empire could." I shook my head. "My mother did. She studied me. And you carried it forward." Months later, Verethi terraforming arrays ignited above Earth. Massive orbital mirrors reflected balanced solar radiation. Atmospheric scrubbers deployed nanite swarms. Ice reclamation satellites seeded cloud formation cycles. From orbit, Earth began to change. Blue crept back into the brown. Clouds thickened. Rain fell. The first natural rainfall in decades. I watched it from a Verethi observation deck. Sereth joined me. "Your species will remember you." I shook my head. "They won't." She tilted her head. "You saved them." "No," I said quietly. "I gave them a chance." Lyra approached. "Our council wishes to formalize alliance." "Alliance?" I asked.
"Yes."
"Co-development. Shared planetary restoration initiatives." I smiled faintly. "Humans aren't ready for empire." "Not empire," Lyra corrected. "Stewardship." Years later, both worlds flourished. Verethi oceans shimmered vibrant and alive. Earth's rivers flowed again. And in the rebuilt ruins of Seattle, a new structure stood where my stall once had been. Not a marketplace, but a research institute. Above its entrance were carved simple words. Water is life.
Guard it well.
I never returned permanently. My place was between worlds now. But sometimes, when earth rain falls, I close my eyes and remember the lake beneath the dust. And the day 2 alien women sold everything they had, not to buy water,
but to change everything.